Well, welcome once again to the Doctor of Digital podcast and going through what are 15 ways to improve your writing. Now, I'm thinking specifically of a screenplay, but as adapting Burning America in the best interest of the children to a screenplay, it can be, of course, to any creative work. So, what are 15 ways to improve your writing and especially being more creative with it? Well, what I have today for you is way through three, choosing concepts wisely, way three. So, hope you had some good fun with the dramatic concepts from the second way. Now it's time to take a look at the three most common conceptual mistakes that many screenwriters make when choosing concepts to develop. Here's a quote for you, and it's a good one. I made mistakes in drama. I thought drama was when actors cried, but drama is when the audience cries. That's a quote from Frank Capra, of course, a great movie filmmaker himself. Objective here on Way 3 to make sure that you are choosing your concepts wisely. Advice: the number one rule that screenwriters need to follow when choosing their next project is simple. You must choose, but choose wisely. What do I mean by that? When you're writing your first couple of screenplays, sure, write what you know and write what you're passionate about. The first couple of screenplays are your introduction into screenplay format and cinematic story structure. They are your trial by fire after you're hopefully educated yourself on the technical aesthetics of screenplays. However, when you're trying to make a career out of screenwriting, you need to delve a little bit further during your selection process. Yet, even when screenwriters have done their research and gained a little wisdom in that respect, many often make the same mistakes in their eventual choices of what they develop and eventually write. And these conceptual mistakes all too often come back to haunt them during the marketing phase of their screenwriting journey. And I know something about the marketing piece as well. So let's detail the three most common such mistakes that plague a screenwriter's chances in the eyes of studios, production companies, and representation. Number one, writing your version of popular movies. This is perhaps the most common mistake of these three and is mostly made by more novice screenwriters. Yes, you do want to write movies that you want to see because that's really where you will find the passion that drives you to complete a script. However, you need to choose wisely and make sure that while you write, you'll be able to see on the big screen, you are at the same time bringing something different to the table as you do so. Too many screenwriters just write their own version of popular movies. But what are you going to offer that's new? What are you going to do that makes the reader stop and take notice of what is on those pages of yours? It's not enough to emulate a concept and just some new characters and scenarios into the mix. You have to showcase a concept and characters that pop off those pages, that engages a reader to the point where the concept and characters are so intriguing that they need to read on. Number two, chasing trends. Hollywood has had many drama trends come and go. We've seen plenty of movies about soldiers in World War II. We've seen many courtroom dramas. And with those movies came hundreds of screenplays from unknown screenwriters trying to break through as they chased those trends. Trends are tricky. While everyone will tell you that you have to write what Hollywood is making, the catch-22 scenario of that comes in two parts. Number one, the film and television industry will already be flooded with such scripts, mostly written by studio writers that have the connections and pull you don't have. Number two, by the time you've written your script set within that trend, and by the time you've marketed it and gotten it into somebody's hands through contests or networking, it's likely that the trend has come and gone. It'll happen soon with any trend that you see in the theaters and on television now. Number three, not doing your research. Let's say you have an excellent drama concept. Perhaps you read something in the headlines, your imagination was sparked, and you came up with a topical and relevant concept. And then you go to take a few months to write it, only to learn later that three other studios have similar projects already in active development. We want to avoid that from happening as you develop your drama script. By the end of this days, where we're going through 15 ways of writing creatively, you've worked hard to develop some brilliant concepts. We don't want you to suddenly discover that they've either already been done or about to be produced by bigger names than you. And this happens all the time to most writers. We humans share a collective existence fueled by headlines and information. It's only natural that similar theme concepts float to the surface. Most novice and disgruntled screenwriters will naively conclude that Hollywood somehow stole their idea from that query letter or screenplay contest submission. But the truth is, we all live in the same world and we all think so much alike that we're also intrigued and inspired by the same things. There's nothing worse for a screenwriter than working hard to finish a script only to discover that major studios, producers, and directors have already tackled the concept or subject. It's just a natural part of the creative process in and outside of Hollywood. It happens all the time in multiple genres, even with the studios. In 1997, there was Dante's Peak and Volcano. In 1998, we saw Deep Impact and Armageddon. In 2013 came White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen. In 2018, 2019, we had two Abominable Snowmen animated features, Smallfoot and Abominable. In 2018, 2019, we had Quiet Place and The Silence, both featuring post-apocalyptic worlds taken over by creatures that hunt with sound. It's okay to choose a concept that is similar to other films, just as long as you make it stand out in a much different and better way. Exercise. Let's take a look at your drama concepts that you now hopefully have rolling around in your head. In regards to the concept you choose, the easiest way to write what you love and what you want to see without falling into the trap of just writing your version of a popular movie is to flip those concepts onto their heads and meld them with something else. Instead of writing a World War II drama with soldiers, perhaps use those tropes to introduce the same type of characters in a new setting. It's Saving Private Ryan meets American Sniper. It's Glory meets Saving Private Ryan. Those are the types of hybrids that studios and producers respond to, as opposed to yet another clone of a movie that audiences have seen dozens of times. Now, let's be sure that you are doing your best to avoid the trap of chasing current trends. You do have options to avoid this while still staying relevant in the current trends. Revive a trend that has been dead for over a decade, but with a new twist on it. Create your own trend. Sure, it's not a trend until it gains some steam. However, you can specifically set out to come up with concepts that make people in the film and television industry stop and take notice. What a great concept. I never thought of that. Perhaps it's something as simple as creating hybrids, or even better, finding a truly original concept. If you chase trends, you're going to find yourself waiting in a very long line of clones that look just like you. Instead, try to think a year or so ahead of Hollywood. Pay attention to the trades, Deadline, Tracking Board, Variety. See what scripts are being purchased now as opposed to what was a success at the box office last year. In the end, just remember that what you choose for your next project will set you on what could be a life-altering path. Either you'll choose correctly and it will pay off, or you'll choose poorly and never get that time and effort back. Assignment. Now, what you have to do is to say, well, what I'm going to do is to do that original thing and make sure that it's a new and exciting way to do a movie screenplay. And for you, that really means coming up with this original and certainly different type of story. Ask yourself the tough question of, am I just writing my version of an already successful movie? If you see that this may be true, try to replace those concepts with more original ones. If you see that the concept you've conjured seem to be chasing the current trends within the industry, find ways that you can flip that concept to tell a new version of that current trend, or again, find another concept altogether. After you've done all of that, it's time to research your concepts. Go online, do Google searches, go to IMDb and look up their lists of current films in development and production. Once you accomplish these assignments and you are confident that your 5 premises are still worth pursuing further, we'll move into Wave 4 to narrow those premises down even more. We'll see you next time. Until next time, this is the Doctor of Digital helping you with the 15 ways to improve your creating writing, particularly for screenplays, but for any creative writing. A lot of the concepts still apply. Until next time, this is the Doctor of Digital signing out. Deus Volt.